Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So guys, we are reading a book which is Napoleon Hiil, The Golden Rule of Success. So we are on its chapter 4. So without wasting any time, let's start reading. Chapter 4. When a man loves his work. During more than 10 years of research covering the analysis of more than 12,000 men and women, I uncovered some startling facts, among them being the discovery that a man can multiply the results of his work by at least 10 without becoming tired when he has found the work that he loves. Last night I forgot to go to the bed. I became so absorbed in my work that the silvery wings of early dawn had spread themselves over me before I noticed the passing of the night. I feel refreshed. I feel able for the day work ahead of me. The bodybuilding and body repairing process has been going on within me alright. In producing this magazine and distributing it to the remotest parts of the country, we find it necessary to do much work that its readers never heard about. Organizing, preparing and printing the material that goes into this magazine is least of a work. And this seems more like play than it does work because we love it. The hardest of our work is in the distribution of the magazine after it is printed. Night after night, week after week, we plan and execute, work and play, laugh and sing, speculate and prophesize in the process of producing and distributing this magazine. But neither of us has ever complained of being tired. After dinner, we walk 5 meals and back for the necessary physical exercise. As we walk, we talk and we philosophize. We plan and think. We talk of the good there is in man and of the bad, with a soft pedal on the bad. Then we return to the playhouse, where this magazine is created, and play the game of helping people to see the joy and the beauty and the glory of cooperative effort that is based on the golden rule. A few weeks ago, we had a chance to spend the weekend on a camping trip. We thought it over, saw ourselves fishing and enjoying the great outdoor scenery. But when we thought of the fun we can have right here among the tall buildings of Chicago, playing a game through the pages of this magazine and helping thousands of others to enjoy a game, we decided we could not give up a whole weekend for so commonplace a game as that of fishing and hunting. There is a psychological cause behind this fact that a man never kills himself by hard work. If he is engaged in the sort of work he loves, this principle can be demonstrated and proved by a score of simple illustration. For instance, what boy is there who does not remember how long he could play baseball without ever growing tired, while 10 minutes on the woodpile almost brought collapse? Who can recall the healing of Flaw's sleep when he was spending the better part of the first half of every night with the girl of his choice, while engaged in the work of trying to sell himself to her? Who can recall without a desire for reputation the hard days climbing among the cliffs and rocks of a beautiful mountain range with a party of picnickers? And who can remember ever having heard of this labor-killing animal? Nature has so arranged things that where love and joy of service abide, there may also be found the reward of satisfaction. Nature has so arranged matters that the human mind repels or that it does not attract. There are only two forms of energy. One repels and the other attracts. When the human mind is directing the physical body in effort which it loves, the law of attraction is automatically brought into play and the body finds the work easy, because there is no friction, no resistance from the law of repulsion. Think for a moment and get this principle that I am trying to simplify, because it will pay you to do so. Every act of the physical body which is a result of force and fear or necessity, and when does it arise out of pure love for the service to be performed by that act, immediately meets the resistance of the law of repulsion, and the result is friction, loss of energy, a tired body, and a tired mind. When you drive a child to do a thing because it is afraid not to do it, then you set into motion the law of repulsion, and the result may be resentment that will bring on sickness or at least a big healthy cry, both of which were out body cell and result in fatigue. The same principle applies, of course, where men and women out of necessity are forced to engage in work they do not love. They do it because they have to eat. But all the while, this law of repulsion is brought into action, and it is producing resentment, cynicism, fear, and other negative qualities, all of which tear down the tissues and the cell of the body and produce fatigue. A laboratory test I had made during the war showed what a startling result could be produced by providing appropriate music for workers who work under high tension and at high speed. They turned out from 25% to 50% more work. But this was not the best part of the discovery. They were not worn out when the day's work was over. Surely, here is a tip for the efficiency engineers and the employers of labor. Make work attractive, give it touch of art wherever possible, and mix it with music. Embellish it without any modifying influence that will disarm the law of repulsion. And the workers will do more and complain less, because they will not be worn out when the day work is over. When I was a young lad, I used to attend those all-night social gatherings at which the young people of the community gather and dance and play games in the rural districts. Never can I remember having complained of being fatigued on account of loss of sleep or hard work, and these gatherings called for both. We worked hard and slept not at all, but because the law of attraction was at work meanwhile, and the law of repulsion was not permitted to interfere, we came out of the night work and refreshed and ready for more of it next night. The physical body is an instrument upon which energy that we call the mind is constantly playing if we direct that energy so it does not arouse rebellion or bring into play the law of repulsion. There is no wear and tear on the body that fatigue cannot be felt. But when one set of emotion begins to claim the use of the physical body and another set disputes the claim and tries to repel the claimant, then war sets in between two opposing forces, and the result is death to body cells. They fall by the millions like soldiers in warfare, destroyed because of lack of harmony of purpose and of effort between the body and the mind. Men are not the only ones who engage in warfare. There is a little war going on inside of every human body when we are in peace and harmony and love to render service to not abide. Every act one performs that comes as a result of fear, unnecessity, or any other cause than that of desire to perform the act. Charge these two opposing forces of attraction and repulsion into motion, and the result is warfare and death. The cell of the body are the physical beings through which these forces fight one another. This is a scientifically proven fact that I am passing on to you, even though I have tried my best to strip it of scientific terms, so it will be so obvious that all may understand and appropriate it. For 10 years, I have been analyzing people, and out of this research covering the separate analysis of more than 12,000 men and women of varying ages, temperaments, and education, I had made the startling discovery that success in life, that internal variety for which all mankind has been striving, is based upon a very few simple fundamentals, one of which is this: that one will succeed in any undertaking if he loves your work and learns how to bring into play the law of attraction and refrains from arousing the law of repulsion. The system of character analysis that I worked out as a part of my research worked more than 150 questions, and nearly every one of these is intended to bring out the nature of the work that the person being analyzed likes best. Once this fact has been established, it is as easy to write a prescription for success as it to prescribe a remedy for a boy who has dirty face. In both cases, the patient often rebels and yells and tries to evade the remedy, but the prescription, when followed, does the work. I would rather have the presidency of the American Federation of Labor than I would the presidency of the United States, because if I had this tragic place of enormous power in the field of economics, I would direct my entire efforts to the task of teaching organized labor, the law of which I am here writing. And if I proved to be a competent teacher and made a good job of selling the rank and file of labor, this principle, I could make organized labor and the most powerful, the most satisfied, the most constructive force in the world, all inside of dozens years or less. This is no reflection on Gompers, a man of excellent character and high ideals, because he probably knows the truth of what I saw as well as I do. But he likely feels his hand tired, so he cannot put it into action. I am not Mr. Gompers, or I am president of the American Federation of Labor, but I am carrying this thought to the people, the rank and file of labor included, with an ever increasing rapidity that may show pretty fair results inside of the next 10 years. Wages will not satisfy man. The man whose pay envelope is all he received for his labor is underpaid, no matter how much it may contain or whether its contents have been squeezed from the purchaser of the labor to a force of organized labor, or finds it way as there as a result of billing satisfied purchaser. The real pay comes out of love to serve, and if the man who labors sees in the result nothing but a living that he is forced to squeeze out of sweat and toil, he is being cheated or is cheating himself out of life's greatest heritage. There is no finely spun theory of which I am writing. For me, it remembered that I have earned my living by the sweat of my brow and the callus of my hand, rendering the most lowly sort of service. I have worked for board and clothes, and I have worked for $1,00,000 a year. Therefore, I know not from history but from actual experience that no amount of money brings happiness unless that money comes from render service that a man loves to render. If there is rebellion in his heart, or if he renders service with a mental reservation, a man can never receive the real pay for such service, which is happiness. It almost makes my heart stop because beating when I see my fellow men, led by pseudo leaders, marching out of the mines of West Virginia in organized armed mob formation in the vain attempt to get something through the law of force. As I write these lines, and this is the thing that inspired me to write, I have before me the press reports and private reports of my own representatives through whom I have secured correct data concerning the so-called West Virginia mine war. I suspect that I will not have finished these lines before President Harding will have sent United States troops to West Virginia to bring order out of chaos. And what will these poor misguided laborers get? Read slowly and reason as you read, and I'll tell you. They will get shot down if they persist in more violence, but even if they stop before the heavy hand of the law descends upon them, they will get a fine crop of public resentment, which they cannot overcome inside of the next 10 years. And the pity of it all is that not a word of this avowal has been uttered by any leader of labor of this ill-advised move by this West Virginia miners, my heart is with the laboring people because I came up from that class, and in reality, I have never gotten out of that class. But the truth is truth, and moral law is moral law, no matter what man's personal sentiments may be. And I reflect nothing but the truth when I say the action of the West Virginia miners is nothing short of a tragedy that will fall heavily on the heads of organized labor and of every workman who belongs to organized labor throughout the United States. While I may seem to have distressed for a moment, I'm nevertheless still writing about men who succeed because they love their work. And no man can love his work if it is performed in a spirit of selfishness, with the object of squeezing the last drop of lifeblood from the man who purchases his labor. Success in life depends upon happiness, and happiness is found in no other way than through service that is rendered in a spirit of love. If service is not the end instead of merely a means to an end, happiness cannot be found in its performance. Surely, the World War should have taught us one thing, if it taught us nothing else, and that is the unquestionable fact that physical force cannot permanently succeed if it is one of such nature that it sets resentment and hatred into motion. Only truth and justice based upon love for humanity and increasing desire to place the interest of humanity above those of the individual can permanently endure. The person responsible for those misguided West Virginia miners take up arms and trying to force their views upon the community was either a fool or shrewd criminal whose only object was to further some interest. Note, I said some interest. That was inimically to the interest of those who can earn their living by the sweat of their brows. I know that slavery meant too well not to know that behind this fool's errand on which they started, there was a guiding mind of stealth and cunning, a mind that was actuated but not by a desire to serve but to profit selfishly, and not to give but to get. Fellow workers of the world, permanent, desirable, constructive efforts cannot be produced in this way. There is a better way of getting that what you are entitled to do. And unless every promise of every sound leader of the past and every conclusion of the great philosopher and every promise that is written in the growing trees and the flowing brooks and the singing birds and the faces of little laughing children by the divine hand that guides the destiny of this universe is false and unsound. This better way may be found at the round table where men meet and take each other into their confidence, give and take, make allowance and ask for allowance, basing their no negotiation always on the golden rule. Force will win for a time, but force does not make a man love his work, and unless he doesn't love it, it will surely miss the greatest that all life on the earth promises, which is the joy and the peace of mind and the happiness that comes from the harmonious, friendly intercourse among men. Find the work you love, forget yourself in that work, and your reward in both satisfaction and momentary consideration will be ample for your needs on this earth with a safe margin left over. So guys, we have completed the chapter 4, which is quite small as compared to last chapters. We covered it in about 18 minutes or less. So thanks for watching this video, and in next video we'll read the next chapter, which is chapter 5, Initiative. And thanks for watching this video. Bye bye, see you again in next videos.